Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back with another Smite Meta update. And we're going to be doing, like usual, going from Hunters to Solo Lane, or from Carry to Solo Lane, and we're going to kind of bang it out real quick. There has been some interesting changes recently, specifically regarding pretty much all the roles. Some stuff has fallen out of favor, while some stuff has gone up in favor. The biggest of which, I think, is Jingwei. Jingwei has become one of the best hunters in the game just by virtue of her safety. The build going Devos into either kin size or going crit or a mixture of both has really favored her and made her very powerful. She's incredibly safe. She's got CC immunity in her ultimate, which a lot of hunters was, well, with a few hunters was lacking before. She's got good damage, good objective shred, and overall she's just a powerful pick right now. Another pick that now is unbanned in comp and has been powerful and ranked as well is Charybdis. Charybdis came back as another, that was really loud, another very powerful pick for the dual lane, just because again she's very safe, CC main ultimate, and has very high damage and shred. Still incredibly powerful is Medusa. Medusa has insanely high pressure, and she continues to dominate lanes, solo out other hunters very easily, even when the Crusher build is now kind of out of favor due to the double flat pen nerf. Uller is incredibly strong right now. His damage, you go a full burst build and you just explode people. Full burst build with Hydras and people just die. It's kind of insane. Even tanks kind of get shredded by him. He is doing an obscene amount of damage, and I would not be surprised if it gets nerfed. But if you're looking to kind of stomp your games in dual lane, look for Jingwei, Medusa, and Uller as your big picks right now, and stick to those as your three main ones. Other backups could be Chiron, Charybdis, Cernunnos. Chernobog's doing pretty decently right now, and I would stick to those. For supports, Cabrakan is still very powerful. Bacchus is still very powerful for the same reasons. Good CC, good control. The diminishing returns change has affected, I would say, Cabrakan and Bacchus pretty decently, but Cabrakan has Tremors, which constantly reapplies, and his one doesn't apply DR. So your CC combos are still very reliable. With Bacchus, though, the burp into flop combo is a little less reliable because the DR changes. Don't believe what you see all the time on Twitter. Some Sada Dragon basically blew up a tweet where he did his calculations wrong, and he inflated his numbers by building two CCR items and demanding a revert of DR, and it was a whole problem. You can look for it yourself. I'm not going to involve it, but it was a whole mess. Anyway, Khepri has been seeing a lot of play, and he's very powerful. Though he's not one of those hard carry engage supports, he's one of those peel for the backline supports, but he plays in the middle of the team. But if you're looking to be aggressive, Ares, incredibly strong right now. Again, there's a lot of people who don't have CC immunity, particularly mages, that are in meta right now. You want to pick those up. You want to make sure they get beads, and junglers, I should say. Make sure they get beads and force those beads. You should look at Ares, Atlas, Bacchus as your kind of like main ones. And then you could look at like Cabrakan, whatnot. But I would be mistaken if I didn't point out Eset and Nox. Eset and Nox have been tearing up the support meta right now. Eset has been a powerful pick, and Nox is a very powerful counter pick to that. But Nox has functioned really well even outside of games where Eset is in it, because she has the tools right now, and she has a build that she can go that she becomes incredibly tanky and incredibly hard to deal with. She has the ability to set up with her combo, and then her ultimate is also very powerful. She has really decent damage in the early game, and then late game you're just really difficult to kill. Now, in mid lane, I'm going to stay over here. Thoth, Tiamat, the Morgan, still incredibly powerful. They're all very strong right now because they can build. The builds have changed, but they're still benefiting those three in particular. Other characters you may want to look at is Hevo's decent. Janus is feeling pretty good right now. Eset also feels pretty good. Agni has kind of fallen out of favor, but I still think he's pretty strong and people are undervaluing him. And Zeus and Persephone are also incredibly powerful right now. Persephone has a really good burst and insane lockdown. Zeus is just Zeus. He does a bajillion damage. In terms of hunters, Chiron and Uller are both very powerful picks in the mid lane right now, as well as Amuzin Cobb. Amuzin Cobb has kind of been tearing it up at the pro level and at the high level rank scene. Has the prot reduction or the vulnerability that Stinger has on the enemy. I believe it's a prot reduction. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a flat physical protection reduction. 20% is incredibly powerful on the big solo laners and big junglers right now. So if you are a mid laner and you're looking for a little bit of variety, or you're looking for physicals, definitely look in the way of Ullr, Chiron, and AMC. Next is junglers, and Gilgamesh is still on top. Gilgamesh and Shiva are incredibly powerful picks right now. They're CC oriented, and they can kind of just run through in the early game and just shit on everybody. And you could get a lot of easy early wins with them, because they can just feel so oppressive. Erlang Shen has fallen out of jungle favor. I wouldn't call him the cream of the crop anymore. He used to be tied with Gilgamesh pretty much and Shiva, but now that they've changed his kit, he's become much more of a solo-oriented character. You could still play him in jungle, and he still works there pretty decently, but the knockup being removed from his 3 is a really big hit, and you feel it. Your burst damage is very, very low, and people can turn and fight you when you don't have, or while you have your abilities up now. You can't just CC lock them. I would avoid Erlang Shen. Gilgamesh and Shiva are pretty big right now. Daji, Kleena, Bastet, Camazotz, incredibly powerful picks right now. They run games very, very easily, and they can snowball very, very easily. Nemesis, also a decently powerful pick, but the ones I mentioned before, the Daji, the Bastet, the Kleena, the Camazotz, are probably your best picks in terms of assassins. Gilgamesh and Shiva are incredibly powerful in a tankier jungle role. Now, normally I would switch to the Warrior or Guardian tab, but something interesting has come up very recently in Ranked. Bakasura has seen a resurgence in solo lane. My thought process behind it is Golden Blade is incredibly cheap. Golden Blade is incredibly cheap. He has a very easy time invading camps with Eat Minion. He has decent sustain with Eat Minion. Butcher Blades is just physical damage, and they didn't nerf 2 big items that really help. Berserker Shield and Shoguns are incredibly powerful on him. I even go a Frostbound most of the time. These items are very core on him in solo lane, I think, other than the Golden Blade, of course. I've been starting with Leather Cowl, although you can do Bumba's Dagger. You could do Gilded if you really wanted to. You could do Eye. You could do a lot of things with Bakasura. Death's Toll. But he has become a menace to deal with in solo lane, because if he gets 1 kill and you mess up, he just spirals completely out of control, and you need your team to come back and help you. He is a sleeper power pick right now in the solo lane. If you're a solo laner and you're looking to carry your games, you should definitely look to pick him up. Practice him in a few casuals first, get used to how he plays, and then start dominating with it. Another pick. Ullr is just disgusting right now in solo lane. He does what he can do in mid lane, and he can bully warriors very easily early on. You need to be careful, though, because certain warriors can just walk up to you and shit on your entire life. You have to be cautious. But in the late game, he's still Ullr. He's still incredibly powerful. You see players like Haddix and SOT picking him up and just running games with it. Granted, they're pro players, but it's an incredibly powerful pick right now in the solo lane, and it's a pretty good way to get some early kills if you play it correctly. Again, like I said, practice him in casuals, learn to play him, and then go. Now to the Warrior tab. Erlang Shen has seen a resurgence. I think mostly because he's been changed and he's a new character. People are trying him out. I do think he's decently strong. I wouldn't put him in the top echelon, but I would put him as a powerful pick. Another powerful pick that's kind of seen a resurgence in solo lane is Bellona. Bellona for a long time has been on the rise, and right now she feels very, very oppressive. Again, a lot of her items didn't get nerfed, similar to Bakasura. A lot of her items did not get nerfed in the big nerfening, a lot of people are calling it. She is powerful, and she feels powerful. Amaterasu is another pick that, similar to Bellona, although not as oppressive, not a lot of her items got nerfed. So she feels very, very oppressive. Shiva is another really good pick. He is very good interrupt. His early game is where he shines. You want to abuse his early game, because later on, you're not as useful, but you're still decently useful, but you're not as useful as you were in the early game and the mid game. Achilles has also seen a bit of resurgence, just because having an execute and having a powerful late game health like buff and early game power buff is also very, very strong. His abilities do a ton of damage. He has decent sustain, etc., etc. I've talked about this before. Ario, still a very prominent pick. She isn't as end-all be-all as she was before. Her damage nerfs, you do feel them, but she's still incredibly powerful. I still ban her because she's annoying as fuck. Or I ban her or Kleena Kleena is incredibly powerful right now as well. But Artio, Cthulhu, and Cabrakan still feel very strong in the solo lane. There's a lot of variety right now in solo lane. But the three of them still feel very, very strong. Kleena is might possibly be still the best solo laner in the game, especially for carrying in even higher end MMRs. She is incredibly powerful right now, and she's incredibly safe. Her items are good still. She's super oppressive. She does a ton of damage. And late game, she's so hard to kill if you build her the right way. She is disgusting right now, and you should be playing her if you're a solo laner. And yeah, that's it. Peace.